Good afternoon. A remembrance event has taken place in Mountain Ash to mark almost a year since the death of a 13-year-old boy. The body of Christopher Capessa was found in the River Cunnon in July 2019. His mother was told earlier this year there was sufficient evidence to support a manslaughter charge, but no further action would be taken. The family are appealing the decision, as George Zielinski reports.
Christopher was just amazing.
Almost a year since his death, and family and friends gathered to remember the life of Christopher Capessa. When he died, the 13-year-old, who couldn't swim, was by the River Cunnon near Fernhill in Rhondda-Cynon-Taf with a group of other young people. His body was found in the river soon after. An initial investigation by South Wales Police concluded there were no suspicious circumstances, but concerns were raised by the family and their lawyer.
The decision of the CPS not to bring charges against anybody is now the subject of a victim's right of review. We expect to hear something around about the end of July. And once we know that decision, then we'll come together as a group and we'll decide what the next course of action is.
In a letter to his family earlier this year, the Crown Prosecution Service said there was clear evidence the suspect pushed Christopher into the river, but they weren't continuing with a prosecution because the push wasn't in an effort to harm someone, but ill-considered. His family supporters say this decision was an example of institutional racism within the CPS and South Wales Police.
I think for the Crown Prosecution to decide not to charge someone when there's sufficient evidence, but not to do it because it's in public interest, smacks of racism. I think the police investigation in the first 24 hours and the first week contained litany of errors and failures.
In response, the CPS said they were unable to comment due to the current review. South Wales Police say they're committed to implementing opportunities for learning, while an independent Office of Police Conduct investigation into their handling of the case is ongoing. So for today at least, Christopher's loved ones have simply gathered to remember the tragic loss of a young life.
George Zielinski reporting there. The MP for Carmarthen East and Dynevor, Jonathan Edwards, has accepted a police caution after an incident where police were called to his home. Mr Edwards was arrested last month on suspicion of assault. In a statement, he said it was the biggest regret of his life. There have been a further 5 deaths of people with coronavirus reported by Public Health Wales, bringing the total number here to 1,502, though this doesn't include some community deaths and is known to be far higher. The Welsh Government says it hasn't made a decision on whether Wales will allow travel to European countries without a quarantine period. The UK Government has said that in England, so-called air bridges with EU countries will be allowed from the 6th of July, but Welsh tourism businesses can only take bookings a week later. The Welsh Conservatives say it would be bizarre if Welsh tourists can travel abroad before being able to stay over in Wales, but some in the industry back the Welsh Government's cautious approach.
The announcement was a great surprise. We didn't see it coming. I was in a Welsh Government meeting yesterday morning and we didn't have any mention or any inkling that this announcement was going to come out of London. So clearly there is a communication issue there. Yes, it's come very, very suddenly. It does seem absurd in a way, but it's also very alarming, I think, that England are taking off the restrictions so quickly, particularly when we see all the scenes that we have been seeing in Southend and Bournemouth.
Football now, and Cardiff City have climbed into the Championship playoff places after beating Preston 3-1. There were 2 late goals for the Bluebirds, including this one from Nathaniel Mendes-Lang. The result means they climb above Preston, who started the game a point ahead. Meanwhile, Swansea City remain 4 points off the playoffs after a 1-0 home defeat to struggling Luton. A time for a look at the weather forecast now, and it'll be a cloudy night for most with a few clear periods, but some showers developing. Tomorrow will be a largely cloudy day with some sunny spells, but also some showers which could turn heavy. Windy and feeling cooler with a top temperature of 17 Celsius. That's Wales Today. We'll have the next update for you at just after 5 tomorrow, but until then, have a good evening. Good night. Nos da.